The Biden administration is suing Texas over two new congressional districts, alleging they were drawn to discriminate against minority voters. Sherman Chow is at our downtown studio. How likely is it that the Department of Justice will win this suit, Sherman?
Well, I'll tell you what, our KHOU 11 political expert thinks that it is unlikely, but let's start at the beginning with the DOJ's position. It believes that these new districts discriminate against minority voters, diluting their voting power. The U.S. Census shows Texas's population grew by 4 million from 2010 to 2020, and 95% of that growth came from minority populations. But that is not reflected in the two new districts, one in Austin and one here in Houston.
For example, Texas will gain two new congressional seats because of its population growth, almost all of which is due to growth in the state's minority population. However, Texas has designed both of those new seats to have white voting majorities.
Now, but the DOJ must prove that Texas intended to draw on racial lines, which is illegal, versus drawing them along political lines, that is legal. You may remember when state Democrats walked out of the Capitol to protest new state voting laws. They went on to D.C. hoping for federal intervention. Well, our political expert Bob Stein thinks that's what this lawsuit is really about.
Washington has failed some Democrats in Texas. And I think what Garland is doing and what the president's probably asking Attorney General Garland to do is, wave the flag. I think it's at least an effort to say to Democrats, we take your concerns seriously.
Now, the other big consideration, the DOJ will have to wait for elections to actually happen and then use those results, hoping to prove their case. So as a practical matter, it'll take at least one, maybe more election cycles to see what the voter results actually are and then to try to build them into their case. And again, to prove intent is a very high bar. Guys?
Definitely a complicated process, one to watch. Sherman, thank you.